Noche UFC 2025 was supposed to be a big pay-per-view event hosted in Mexico, but the combination of the arena not being ready and Dana White promoting the Canelo Alvarez fight on the same day resulted in this becoming a fight night in San Antonio. My name is Angelo, this is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire Noche UFC fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and bets. But before I do that, let me remind you, I'll be at Noche. I'll be there. Jakey Boy and I will be in San Antonio at Noche UFC. So if you see us, come say hi to the boys. If you live in that general area but you're not attending the fights, still come say hi. We'll be posted up at a bar somewhere. I'll be getting after it. That's kind of like my thing. And you could probably see in my eyes and hear my voice, I got after it last night. But we'll be there. Come say hi. We will be watching the fights. We'll be at the weigh-ins. We'll be doing all of the things in San Antonio Friday and Saturday this week for Noche UFC. Let's go ahead and break down this card. We have 14 fights. We have back-to-back events where the UFC scheduled 14 fights. And this fight is the Ultimate Fighter finale. We've got the welterweight finale. This was supposed to happen back at UFC 319, and there were some injuries, so it didn't, and now it's happening here. We got Rodrigo Sezinando taking on Daniil Donchenko. Rodrigo Sezinando, gritty guy. He's got 15 full minutes of cardio. He's a grinder. He likes to grapple. He'll plot forward. He'll push against the cage. He'll get the takedowns. He doesn't really have clean like doubles or singles when it comes to takedowns, but he does have good offensive cage wrestling and enough strength to elevate on his entries, meaning he will pick you up. On the ground, he has incredible control. Very high-level jiu-jitsu. He's tough, but he is somewhat limited in his skill set. It's kind of grind or nothing. He's taking on Daniil Donchenko. This guy's a nasty striker. He does have some power. He does a really good job chopping down the tree, meaning he will blast your legs and then firing clean rights. He's not super fast, but he hits hard, and he can mix up the grappling and the striking really well. He's a violent guy who is always looking for a finish, but he can slow down. He can fade as the fight goes on. I don't watch The Ultimate Fighter. So I had to go back and watch their fights in the house, watch the regional fights, and prepare. I had to do my research like anybody else. And when I Googled The Ultimate Fighter 33, you know how Google has the AI results, the AI summary up top? The AI summary said, Rodrigo Sezinando won versus Daniil Donchenko. This fight hasn't happened yet, but the AI says it did happen, and that Sezinando won, and that he is the Ultimate Fighter 33 welterweight champion. So if that happens here, we're living in a simulation, and they forgot to fix it. They forgot to fix it. This fight got rescheduled. They forgot to fix it. I mentioned this, the Ultimate Fighter 33 finale was supposed to happen at 319. He got pushed back because Sezinando was injured, but that was only a couple of weeks ago, so he couldn't have been that injured. This is definitely a clash of styles. Daniil's going to be looking to knock Rodrigo's head off. Rodrigo's going to be looking to control against the cage. I am going to go with Donchenko here. I think he's the more well-rounded fighter overall. So he's going to be the pick, but, boring-ass control from Sezinando would not surprise me. But I'm going to pick Donchenko. I don't have odds here yet. This fight was added relatively recently, and they just haven't put up odds yet. Here is that AI. I screenshot it because I knew you guys wouldn't believe me. So I searched Ultimate Fighter 33. I didn't search winner. I just searched Ultimate Fighter 33, and it did a whole breakdown. And then under it was like additional information. And it said, who won the Ultimate Fighter 33? AI overview. The Ultimate Fighter Season 33 saw Joseph Morales win the flyweight tournament and Rodrigo Sezinando win the welterweight tournament. If that happens, it's a simulation. Then we have Alessandro Costa taking on Alden Coria. Alessandro Costa, big boy favorite right now. Big favorite. And I get it, he's pretty good, but he's just an itty-bitty man. This is not a typo. That dude is 5'4". Him and Jacob could share pants. That's how small Alessandro Costa is. He's a solid striker, though. He's got pretty good takedown defense. That striking style is just high, tight guard and patience. He'll wait for his spots. When he decides to throw, he will throw with 100% intent, and he does a really good job of pushing out small combinations, 2, 3, 4 punch combos. He'll leap in with a left to the body and then a right up top to the head. He's got very real power, insane leg kicks, but he can be low volume. He's coming off that finish win over Kevin Borras. He's taking on Alden Coria. This guy's a busy grappler. He has a nice single leg. He'll snatch up that single leg. He'll bend at the waist. He doesn't even take a full shot. And then he runs the pipe. So he'll grab that single leg. He'll step back. He'll cut the corner. He'll try to sit you down. On the ground, he is busy on top. He's got great control. His scrambles are slick, and he does a good job snatching up submissions While he is primarily a grappler, he does have some decent striking as well with some sneaky power, a full arsenal of knees, kicks, and elbows. Alden's actually a pretty good fighter. He's pretty slick. He does a good job getting to the legs. He's super long for this division, which I actually think might work against him here. That whole bend over to grab a single leg, it's going to be a little hard against somebody who's, mess around at Oompa Loompa height. The striking is decent. I do think he's going to be a little too slow. I think he's going to be a little too hittable. Costa is going to be the pick here. These odds seem pretty wide at minus 350, though. I mean, this is a competitive fight. But I am going to go with Alessandro Costa. We'll see what happens as we get closer, if this line widens or tightens. Now we have Zach Reese here to rid us of the ridiculousness that is Sedriques Dumas. We'll get into SD, but we'll start with Zach Reese. Massive guy from middleweight. He's 6'4" and pretty thick. He uses that size. He uses that strength in his fights. He is very well-rounded. He is mostly a striker, but he does have some jiu-jitsu nerd in him. The wrestling is okay. It's a bit inconsistent when he decides to use it. On the ground, though, there is some jiu-jitsu nerd. Off his back and on top, he will use his length to wrap you up. He gets a little too comfortable at times, so he'll just waste minutes trying to throw up a triangle out of nowhere. And we all remember when he tried to triangle Cody Brundage and then got power-bombed into oblivion. He is coming off that decision win over Dusko Todorovic, where he had the takedowns and the strikes. He's taking on Sedriques Dumas. This guy is a disaster. His personal life has a rap sheet as long as a CVS receipt. He is fighting, though. He's here, so let's go ahead and break him down. Style-wise, he's not good at anything. He's not bad either. He's just kind of okay everywhere. The takedowns are okay. The kickboxing is okay. The chin is okay. He's not going to quit if things get tough, but he has been losing more often, and by finish, he was just knocked out by McCall Alessandro. A lot of people said it was early, but it is what it is. And then he was supposed to fight at UFC 317, but that got canceled. Oh, and did he get injured? Is he better yet? No, that got canceled because he couldn't get a judge to cut his ankle monitor off in time. That's a true statement. Zach Reese is almost a 3-1 favorite here, and he should be. SD's not very good. He's scrappy, but he's not skilled. He's also not very dangerous. So if Zach gets anywhere near a takedown, if he lands one of those big bombs, he finds a finish. SD is honestly kind of terrible, and we should be done with the experiment that is having this guy on good-sized cards. Zach Reese, the pick. Pretty confident there. Then we have Tatiana Suarez taking on Amanda Lemos. Tatiana Suarez on her redemption tour. She's pretty inactive, but she seems to be picking it up as of late. She historically has dealt with some very serious injuries, and she will be fighting for the second time this year. That's the first time she's fought twice in a year since 2023. She has submitted former world champions Alexa Grasso, Carla Esparza. She's a dominant wrestler. The striking is just okay, but she averages almost 5 takedowns per 15 minutes. She has 7 wins in the UFC with a total of 28 takedowns, but she did struggle to take down all-time great Wei Li Zhang in her last fight. She's taking on Amanda Lemos, a Muay Thai striker with fast hands and a ton of power. For the most part, she does a really good job keeping fights at that Muay Thai range to avoid the takedowns. She's got plenty of power, solid BJJ, but she can lose the scrambles and the transitions. She has been at the top of the division for a while now, and that is reflected in her slate of competition. She's coming up that bounce-back win over Eisman Lucindo, where experience was different. Just straight up, good old-fashioned Karen haircut experience was the different. Tatiana is a 4-1 favorite, and I keep going back and forth about how I feel about that. On one hand, it makes sense. She's a dominant wrestling force. She's not easy to stop. On the other hand, Amanda has a ridiculous amount of high-level experience, and many times in these lady fights, that's what matters. The experience is the difference. I'm definitely going to pick Tatiana. I think the wrestling is just going to be too hard to consistently stop. Even in the loss to Wei Li, we saw that Tatiana's not a quitter. She doesn't give up. She continues to just work forward and try to get the takedowns. The problem is, am I willing to lay out 4 units to try to get 1 of profit? That might be a tough pill to swallow for somebody coming off a loss, but Tatiana's going to be the pick. She honestly could potentially find a submission. This could be a sneaky under 2.5 type bet when those round lines drop. Then we have Jose Daniil. I didn't put it on the graphic because it didn't fit. Medina taking on Dusko Todorovic. I think the UFC thought this dude was Mexican because his name is Jose. He's not Mexican. But they're like, oh shit. We have a Noche UFC card celebrating Mexican Independence Day. Just, hey, look up Jose's on the roster. Oh, nice. We got Medina. Throw him on there. He's not Mexican. He is a ground and pound fighter, though. He's got decent striking, dangerous top work. When he is striking, he's got clean boxing and nothing too crazy, but it's there. He isn't particularly fast. He's not insanely powerful, but the hands are in the right places at the right times, and he just keeps it tight. His takedowns are also just okay, but when he ends up on top, he does an awesome job maintaining positions, doing some solid damage. He's coming off that KO loss to Atabagutier, where he was tough, just not tough enough. Taking on Dusko Todorovic, a technical striker with power, who also has takedowns and offensive BJJ to round him out. He's a high-volume guy. He lands almost 5 significant strikes per minute, but there are definitely questions about his chin. He's got okay takedown defense at 42%. He likely needs it in this matchup. He's coming off that decision loss to Zach Reese, where he got 4 of his own takedowns, but he shot 13. This is a race to the bottom. Nothing says Noche UFC like a dude named Jose who isn't Mexican fighting someone who hasn't won in 3 years. This is the caliber of card the UFC says the Mexican people deserve. This fight's a mess because neither guy is very good, but somehow the world has decided that Dusko Todorovic wins this fight 74% of the time. That's what the minus 350 odds means. If you don't know how to read odds, let me explain it to you. Minus is favorite. And if we're just talking simple money, that means you would have to bet $350 on Dusko. And in return, if he wins, you get your $350 back and $100 profit. If you translate it to odds, it's about 3-to-1 odds. And if you translate it to win percentage, that's 74%. So if these guys fought 100 times, 74 of those times Dusko would win. That's according to the odds. That seems crazy. That seems crazy. There's no way this dude wins 74 out of 100 times if these guys fought 100 times. So I'm going to pick Dusko because he is the more well-rounded guy. He's fought the better slate of competition. But neither one of these guys have a good win or are good enough to deserve anything that resembles these odds. These odds are stupid as hell. Dusko is the pick. And before I jump into the next fight, let me celebrate our regional Rainman. You're watching this maybe Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Maybe Saturday. But on Tuesday nights, the Dana White Contender Series airs. And those are basically regional fights, right? That's not the UFC. It's Dana White's Contender Series, not UFC's Contender Series. It uses the same facilities as the UFC. It is a vehicle to get into the UFC, but it is not, you do not have a UFC contract if you fight there. This is the poster for the movie Rain Man. If you don't know Rain Man, it's this handsome gentleman on the right, Tom Cruise, and his autistic brother, Dustin Hoffman. We have our own Rain Man. We have our own autistic that's picking fights at spectacular rates. And that's Artem. Artem breaks down the Contender Series cards right here on this channel. There's only 5 fights per card, but he breaks down those cards. And of the 4 Contender Series events that have aired this year so far, he has picked 3 of them perfectly. 3 of them perfectly. And the funny part is, he records the video, we post it on We Want Picks, and the funny part is, right after it, the minute it's up, there's already people like, bro picked 4 favorites. Or, hate this, hate that. The dude picked 3 out of 4 cards perfectly. He's our own regional Rain Man. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because when those videos pop up, you can hop in. People are feeding families watching Contender Series. People are also feeding families watching Jacob's live streams. And this is an awkwardly timed plug because Jacob will not be live streaming Noche UFC because we'll be there in person. But Jacob's Saturday live streams have been insane. And I do want to shout him out here. During those live streams, he's watching the fights, he's commentating, he's having a good time, he's getting feedback from the community, he's placing bets. The bets he's placing are just on the fly. They're on the fly bets that he's placing right then and there for free on camera with the community. Yesterday at UFC Paris, they had a $25 round line parlay for the prelims, and it hit for $14,782. He put up $14,782 off of a $25 bet at UFC Paris during a free live stream, and that was one of like 10 insane bets. So check out Jacob's live stream. Make sure you subscribe. That was the point of both of these things, to remind you to click the subscribe button so that YouTube says, yo, the bros uploaded a new video. Hey. Holy shit, I nailed that one. The boys are live. Just click subscribe. Costs you nothing. Then we have Claudio Puelles taking on Joaquim Silva. Claudio Puelles, fantastic grappler. He's dangerous anywhere on the ground. He has 3 knee bar wins in the UFC. 99% sure that's the official record. He's only 29 years old, and he has a good amount of experience at this level. He's a grappler who uses kicks to keep distance. He's never really out of a fight because if he can get it to the ground, you're in a lot of trouble. He averages around 3 takedowns per fight, but he does have a negative striking differential of almost 2 to 3. He's coming off that close loss to Faraz Ziam, where he had 7 takedowns, and the wrestling actually did look improved. He's taking on Joaquim Silva. BJJ guy, fantastic hands, big power. He is very explosive. He's always looking for the knockout. Even though he does have a BJJ black belt, and he's more than capable on the ground, he isn't typically attempting takedowns and is mostly just looking to bomb away on the feet. He's got a ton of power. He is live in every single fight because of that power. He's coming off that close loss to Jakar Close, where he had a knockdown, just not the volume. And I have my own grudge with Claudio Puelles because he is a butt scooter. He looks like a puppy cleaning a dingleberry on a new carpet. This is a battle of a butt scooter versus an old man. So what do we value more? A fighter who actually fights or youth? Joaquim is a fighter. He gets after it. He engages in the chaos. He's incredibly tough. Puelles is a jiu-jitsu nerd who would rather scoot across the ground on his ass and pull guard than throw real punches. The problem, though, is that if his takedowns look as good in this fight as they did in his last fight, he wins. He could have success. He could sneak this win out as a slight dog. So I'm torn here. My gut will not let me out loud with my words say that somebody who wipes their ass on the carpet like a dog and plays this game off of his back in a cage can win this fight. So I'm not going to say it. I'm going to think it. I'm going to write it down on the website. I can't say it with my own words, but that's the direction we're going with this fight. Then we have Alice Pereira taking on Montserrat Rendon. And despite misinformation on the internet, Alice Pereira is not Alex Pereira's sister, cousin, or relative in any fashion whatsoever. But I understand how people got there because she is a nasty striker. She is ridiculously long. She is lean and she is powerful as hell. She's also only 19 years old. You filthy gooners. She's a child. Okay? Relax, perverts. She has been competing for some time now. She is primarily a striker, good speed, good power. She can also grapple as well. She's got great hips and incredible ground and pound. If you shoot a takedown, she will blast her hips to the side, toss you, shake you, move you, push the head down, and sprawl. She is a very hyped prospect in a division that does need some star power. She's taking on Montserrat Rendon. Solid grappler who will stay in your face. She'll throw a jab out there, and she will work in some takedowns. Her striking is stiff and long, but she does have a nice tight guard while plodding forward. She does not have big, clean wrestling takedowns, but she does have solid clinch work and good trips. Those takedowns have worked well for her in the last couple of fights, but the striking has not. She's coming off that loss to Daria Z, where despite getting 3 takedowns, her strikes were doubled. And it's always tough breaking down somebody with this little experience, especially at this age. Alice could be the real deal, or she could just be like a cheap prop to juice up a pretty weak women's division. And it's a weird matchup. The UFC is definitely looking to promote the hell out of Alice. She already literally has her own posters. In Brazil, there are posters of just Alice made officially by the UFC saying she was signed to the UFC. So they're spending money on her. She skipped the Ultimate Fighter. She skipped the Contender Series, went right into the UFC. She is a striker with a limited amount of MMA experience, and they matched her up with somebody who has 6 takedowns in her last 2 fights. They either really trust Alice's takedown defense or they have no respect whatsoever for Montserrat's wrestling. I would just full-on pick Montserrat if I didn't watch her get 3 takedowns in her last fight, but was still outstruck and ended up losing. I'm going to buy into the hype, at least for now. I'm going to pick Alice. I cannot bet here. A grappler with experience taking on a striker, a grappler with experience fighting at home. This is a very bizarre matchup. Usually the boys, Sean Shelby, McMaynard, usually the boys are great at trying to get somebody to the top and make somebody a star. And maybe, Maybe Alice smokes Montserrat, but Montserrat's tough. She's got takedowns. She's fighting at home. Like, it's a bizarre matchup for sure. I would have thought they would give Alice, somebody they're looking to promote, a very easy matchup, and this is not that. Alice is going to be the pick, but I'd probably just watch this one. Then we have Jesus Aguilar taking on Luis Gurule. What an insane last name that is. Jesus Aguilar, solid grappler. He does have a knack for guillotines. He's got 11 wins. 8 of those wins are by stoppage, and 5 of those 8 stoppages are by guillotine. That's a ridiculous amount of guillotine chokes. His guillotines are interesting, too, because they're not just like jump guard guillotines or you shot a takedown with your head on the outside guillotines. He sets them up. He looks for them. He finds them on purpose. He's not just snatching. He can strike as well. He's got good combinations, what seems like decent power. He is a bit wild, but very active and very fun to watch. He's coming off that loss to Rafael Estevam, where he was extremely busy off of his back, and the guillotine was close, but just not quite there. Taking on Luis Gurule. This guy's light on his toes, good forward pressure striker who bounces around before leaping in and striking. He's aggressive both on the feet and on the ground with decent power. He's in good enough shape to push a pace for 15 full minutes, and he never takes a step backwards. He can grapple as well. He's got solid top pressure and submissions, but he's mostly looking for bully-style takedowns and then ground and pound. If he ends up being taken down, he's still's got a good enough gas tank to work his way up. He's coming off that finish loss to Ode Osborne, and Jesus is tough, man. He will always be in a fight. He keeps fights close. He's also kind of a one-trick pony, though. If he can't straight up win with the forward pressure, he starts looking for that guillotine. He starts hunting for necks. And at this point, everybody knows it's there. Everybody knows that this dude's looking to guillotine you. And if you're expecting it and you're looking for it, your chin is tucked, no head on the outside, shoot right up the middle, or go to the other hip. Luis is going to be the pick, but Jesus is a very good dog here. I'm probably going to try to find some sort of prop bet, like a win inside the distance decision, no action for Jesus, because he's tough as shit, so I don't see him getting finished, and he could find that neck. And then we have a look at the upcoming fight cards. We're about to hit the sweet spot of 2025. The UFC has 3 runs throughout a year. The beginning of the year, it's a little choppy, right? 2 events break. Nothing crazy, usually 1 big pay-per-view, but nothing nuts. Then we hit a really nice late winter, early spring run of like a couple big events, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in a row. Then it gets a little choppy again. Then we have a great summer run. Then it gets a little choppy. And then we have a great fall run. We're about to hit the great fall run because we got Noche UFC. Then we have Perth. Then we have UFC 320. Then we have UFC Rio. The stretch the UFC is kicking off right now, we got 2 pay-per-views in October. The UFC is not even looking in the general direction of the Apex anytime soon. So the upcoming run is unbelievable, and I am looking forward to it. And if you need some picks and some bets and some tools for these upcoming events, it's only $10. And if you spend the $10 this second, you will have access to all the tools, all the picks, all the bets for these 4 events. And it's not just picks and bets. It's tools as well. And I like to push the tools because we are the only people in this space offering more than picks and bets. Everybody out there has their own Twitter and their own Patreon. Like, please, no, I'm the best. Remember when you thought Mauricio Ruffy would win? Well, I'm better than you. And for $497, you can buy my bets off Patreon. It's not just picks and bets. We have a suite of tools. One of those tools is the Fight Simulator. We coded this thing from scratch. It simulates fights 100,000 times, and it gives you the outputs. And we have been using this very successfully to attack strike lines, takedown lines, straight up winners and losers, and it builds DraftKings and FanDuel lineups for you. We have an optimizer that also builds DraftKings and FanDuel lineups for you, and it has a beginner mode. This is an industry first. We're just a couple of guys that started a YouTube channel and built something around it. There are giant companies with millions of dollars and boards and investors that didn't think of the idea of a beginner mode because all of those companies like Osimo and Roto-Grinders, they're focused on the top 1% of people that do fantasy sports, where we care about you, normal-ass people just looking to have a little extra fun on Saturdays. Normal-ass people who want to place a couple of bets. Like, hey, I like fantasy football. Let me try fantasy UFC. And for those people, we added a beginner mode because we can't expect everybody to know how to use an optimizer. If you're looking at this image on the left, that's the optimizer. There's a lot of numbers on that screen. If you know what you're doing, you're off to the races. If you don't, the barrier to entry is pretty high. So we said, let's do a beginner mode. Instead of knowing how to use the numbers and how to use the optimizer, it's just going to ask you a series of logical questions. Who are your most confident favorites? Who are your most confident underdogs? Anybody you absolutely despise that you don't want anywhere near a lineup? You answer those questions, and then it will build the lineups for you. We also have a tape index. For those of you who like to do your own research, watch the fights yourselves. The tape index just lines that all up for you. This is $10 a month. And if you value your time, any tiny bit of research using the tape index, you made up for that time. The tape index is going to be unbelievably valuable in the coming months because the UFC's entire fight library was on ESPN Fight Pass, ESPN. Then they moved it to Fight Pass. It will be moving to Paramount, splitting up, or moving back to ESPN, and the tape index is going to automatically update and follow those fights around so you don't have to go digging through the depths of internet hell. Every single thing I just mentioned, 40 things I didn't mention, $10 for an entire month. No upsell, no cross-sell, no weird packages, no tiers. WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. The only alternative to the $10 is you can do a whole year for $100, which is a discount, or lifetime for $300, which is a discount. And don't forget, I'll be at Noche. And the funniest part, anytime we attend an event in person, the funniest part is people will obviously come up, hey, love the show, whatever. Almost the first thing out of everybody's mouth is either I'm a premium member or I'm not, like with shame, I'm not a premium member, which is just, I just find that so funny. That's the culture we've built here. But hopefully you'll be at Noche. Say hi. You don't need to announce your premium status, unless you are, and then I'd love to hear it. But you don't need to announce your premium status. Just say hi to the boys. I will buy you a drink. At UFC, where did I go? 317? I was doling out drinks. It was actually a bad offer on my part. I spent a ton of money on other people's drinks, but come say hi to the boys at Noche this weekend. We will be filming a vlog. It's not a pay-per-view, but we will be attending an event live, and we film vlogs for all of those things. If you want to send something for the vlog, either this one or the next one, it's We Want Picks, P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas 75078. We will open the letters, read the mail, open the packages. We will do all the things. P.O. Box 406, Prosper, Texas 75078. Opening up the Noche UFC main card, we have Santiago Luna taking on Quang Lee. This is a new addition to this card. Santiago Luna is more affectionately known as Border Boy. Tough, gritty kid, sneaky power, and never say die style. He is the physical embodiment of the Mexican fighting spirit. He's very athletic. He's got an incredible chin. Technique-wise, he kind of does it all. He can strike, he can grapple, and while he does need to clean some things up, he can be a bit sloppy. He is just so freaking tough that he is a tough night out for anybody. He's taking on Quang Lee. Quang Lee is a striker with that Muay Thai stance and a willingness to move forward. He's light on his toes. He's got solid movement. He finds his range with kicks, and he likes to hang on the outside of the pocket before creating chaos and then entering it. He has some takedowns, but they're usually a backup plan. He did, however, just take on Gaston Baranos 4 times and then submit him in the second round. Undefeated prospects are always super tough to break down. And Santiago is absolutely no different. Off tape alone, not factoring in strength of schedule and the bright lights and all that, off tape alone, I think he wins this fight. He's ridiculously tough. He's very busy. He's never out of a fight. He also only has 6 fights, and they were against absolute nobodies. So does he look good on film because he's beating up parking lot attendants, or is he actually that good? I don't know. We'll find out on Saturday. I'm going to pick him because I have seen him in trouble, and he still pushed his way through and worked his way out. That's usually the problem with the undefeated prospects. They haven't been in trouble yet. So then when they get to the UFC and they end up in trouble, some of them fold. I saw him in trouble. He did not fold. Santiago Luna is the pick. I'm going to keep an eye on the line movement here. If the odds continue to widen, we might sprinkle. Then we have another new addition to the fight card. No odds yet. And I'm waiting for these odds because I'm probably going to bet on this fight. We have Alexander Hernandez taking on Diego Fajeda. Alexander Hernandez, a very well-rounded guy. He seems to be hitting his stride as of late. I used to break him down and talk about how inconsistent he was and how in the gym he's probably one of the best training partners, one of the most skilled fighters. And then in execution, you just don't know what version you're going to get. lately we've been getting the version we expect. He's very explosive. He has actual skills, solid wrestler, very well-rounded, a good athlete. He's a little undersized for this division, but he makes up for it with speed and cardio. He's coming off that knockout win over Chase Hooper at 319. Taking on Diego Ferreira. Very good BJJ pie. He's got good power in his hands as well. And even though he's a grappler, he's got really good striking. Surprisingly low takedown accuracy. His striking has evolved over the years. He's won striking-only fights in the past. His takedown defense is 57%, but that is a bit skewed because he continues to be matched up with high-level wrestler after high-level wrestler, and all they're looking to do is take him down. And that was no different in his last fight when he fought Grant Dawson. He came out a little tentative, but he did pick up that pace later. Alexander has a quick turnaround time. He just fought at UFC 319. Diego also has a quick turnaround. Ultimately, Diego did not actually fight at UFC 319. His fight was canceled, but he did all the prep. He did most of the cut. And this feels like a great fight for Alexander Hernandez. He is fighting an older guy at home. I'm 99% sure Alexander Hernandez lives in San Antonio. He's fighting an older guy at home, and he's on a nice little win streak here. Alex is going to be the pick. My only concern is that he cuts so damn easily. You look at him hard, and he's got a cut under his eye. And if Diego bombs away, which he does, and Alexander gets cut, let's say in the first round, but then wins the fight, the judges might just see blood over and over and over for 15 minutes and then be like, oh, he's getting his ass kicked. That's literally my only concern, is how easily he cuts, and he's so fair-skinned. You see all the redness, all the blood. But Alexander Hernandez is the pick. I don't know what these odds are yet, but if they're reasonable in any fashion, I will be betting on him. Then we have everybody's favorite fat boy, Kelvin Gastelum, taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. Kelvin Gastelum, every time I break him down, I mention the wasted talent. And he's an all-time question mark. He's a great wrestler. He's a very good striker. He's got an unbelievable chin. Like one of the best chins we've seen in MMA. And he's capable of being in an absolute dogfight. The problem is he's never had a work ethic. He doesn't really seem to care at all. He's missed weight multiple times. He's jumped between 70, 85. He's struggled at both. He's indifferent. He wins, he loses. He just doesn't care. And with that being said, he is very physically gifted. He's very talented. He's coming off that loss to Joe Pyfer where he started to take over late. And if that was a fight night main event, I wouldn't be shocked if Kelvin went on to win that fight because the momentum definitely shifted. He's taking on Dustin Stoltzfus, a busy striker with very good power. He's got a BJJ black belt, and he's been wrestling more as of late with 7 takedowns in his last 4 fights. He likes to hang out and strike inside the pocket as well, which isn't always the best idea because of a questionable chin. His record is spotty, and he does get finished, but his losses are to quality opponents, and he has been beating the people he's supposed to beat. He's coming off that decision loss to Nursultan Ruzaboyev, where he got the 2 takedowns. Trusting Kelvin Gastelum is like trusting a Taco Bell fart and hoping it won't be wet. You have your confidence, but ultimately it's in God's hands whether you have to change your underwear or not. I do think that Kelvin is going to win here, so he's going to be the pick. This is honestly the easiest matchup he's had in like 5 years. If you run through his resume, it's insane. He should be able to win the striking exchanges. He should be able to eat whatever comes back his way. Hopefully to then defend the takedowns. If I didn't see the Sean Brady fight, I would be insisting that Kelvin's the better wrestler. But Sean Brady was taking him down like easy. And I know how good Sean Brady is, and he might be fighting for a title soon. But Kelvin wrestled Division I, and he was just getting taken down no problem. So he should be a better wrestler than Dustin Stoltzfus, but at this point in his career, maybe his takedown defense is gone. But Kelvin's the pick. Fairly confident in that. The line is, honestly, should be wider, and it just isn't because people can't trust him. And before I break down the next 3 fights, go subscribe to Bad Takes. I've got another show, Bad Takes, with Josh Thompson. Josh Thompson, former UFC fighter, Strikeforce world champion, the only person to ever knock out Nate Diaz. And him and I just break down individual topics. The latest was about Charles Johnson being broke. And the conversation wasn't about only Charles Johnson being broke. It was about how the UFC pays their fighters, if they should change the pay structure, if they pay them enough, and what that all looks like. That actually was one of the most fun videos I've done because I've got some pretty cool ideas on how the UFC should be paying the fighters. The channel is at Bad Takes Clips. Just look for Bad Takes. Or on this channel, If you go to like our profile, it's got featured other channels. It's right there. If you like the general MMA discussions and content and breakdowns, that's the place to be. Then we have the featured fight of the evening. We got Rafa Garcia taking on Jared Gordon. Rafa Garcia, bit of a frustrating guy because he's got talent, he's got grit, he can grind, but also a bit inconsistent as of late. He's a good grappler, he's got heavy hands. He used to be an absolute dog when he fought. And even when he was completely gassed, he was still pushing forward, he still chased knockouts. But he has been a little bit different as of late. He's been very inactive, he doesn't seem to have that same fire in the belly. And while he was once a grinding grappler with very real power in his hands, he seems to now be a jabbing striker as of late. He doesn't really grind. He is coming off that loss to the close win over Vince Pichel, where he was outstruck and had a few well-timed takedowns. Kind of a homer call on that one. Taking on Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon's a good wrestler. High-volume striker. He likes to come forward with flurries before looking for that takedown. He averages almost 2 takedowns per fight, but he can be out-grappled. He's not particularly dangerous, but he is tough as hell. He is busy as hell, and he's coming off that knockout win over Thiago Moises just a few months ago. I mentioned what Rafa got in his last fight felt like a gift decision. It was a card in Mexico. He's Mexican. And while this is not in Mexico, I mean, it's close enough, and it's themed accordingly. I'm not convinced that Rafa won't get another biased decision. But I am convinced that Jared is the better overall fighter. He's the more well-rounded guy. I think he's the better fighter. Even though he's old, he hasn't looked old. And maybe the inactivity over the last few years is why. This is definitely much closer than these odds. I am surprised to see Jared Gordon's creeping in as a 3-1 favorite. He's got good striking, decent wrestling, and even if you look at his losses, he got screwed against Nasrat Haqparast. I thought he won that fight. He got screwed against Paddy Pimblett. I thought he won that fight. And if you look at those two, all of a sudden his record's pretty fucking good. The Bobby Green fight at the time, he was winning those striking exchanges, and there was a clash of the heads, which made it a no contest. But I'm going to pick Jared Gordon here. I have seen with my own eyes Rafa Garcia get decisions that weren't his. I have seen with my own eyes Jared Gordon not get decisions that should have been his. You got to avoid this. Or a Rafa Garcia plus 3.5. That might be the best bet here. If you don't know what that is, you are basically buying points on the judges' scorecards. You're betting the spread. And the spread allows you to lose the fight, but as long as you win one round on all 3 judges' scorecards, you're good. The only way you don't win that bet is if you don't win a round on the scorecards or if you get finished. If you win outright, if you lose a split, it all cashes. And as a plus 235 underdog, we might get probably minus 120 odds on that. And while you're giving up a ton of value there, that bet is a much, much safer bet than straight up Rafa Garcia moneyline. Then we have the co-main event of the evening. This was supposed to be Rob Font versus Chiwiwi. That wasn't a good Chiwi. I've nailed the A. I've nailed that. But Chiwi? No, Jesus, that's bad. I might edit that out. That was bad. That's a bad Chiwi. But Chiwiwi's hurt, so now David Martinez is stepping up to the plate. Rob Font is super gritty. He's tough. He's a technical striker. He's got a good enough chin, especially at his advanced age, but not a ton of power. He is primarily a boxer, so he doesn't really kick. He doesn't really wrestle. But he doesn't need to because his hands are clean. They're fast. He works in and out of the pocket really, really well. He's landing almost 6 significant strikes per minute, and he's hit with fewer than 4. He is coming off that split decision win over Jean Matsumoto, where a paper cut early is what tipped the scales. He's taking on David Martinez. While he's stepping up on short notice, I don't know if it's going to matter. This dude's going to come forward full energy. He's a very mobile striker. He moves much like Dominic Cruz does with the big, giant ins and outs. He's constantly moving. He's constantly changing angles. He does a really nice job picking his shots and then setting things up. He can be low volume, but that's because of the movement. You almost don't notice that he's low volume. The guy's bouncing around like crazy. It feels like he's doing more than he actually is. He's got great leg kicks to slow down his opponents, solid power when he throws. The movement is incredibly beneficial both offensively and defensively. He's coming off that knockout win over Seaman Oliveira in his UFC debut. Ramfon is old. And I don't think he won his last fight. I thought Jean won that fight. I thought that was a bad decision. But even if you agree with me and think that he lost to Jean Matsumoto, it's hard to deny that he's still one of the better pure strikers in the division. He was able to sneak out that decision because he did create that small cut on Jean's head. And even though he was taken down 7 freaking times, he remained calm. He kept striking. The veteran composure in that fight worked really well for him, and it might work well for him here too. I hate picking a 38-year-old with no takedown defense whatsoever. I hate it. But David probably won't look to wrestle unless he's losing the striking exchanges. And at that point, it's too late and you're just desperately diving at legs instead of setting things up. Font is the pick. The over 2.5 is probably rock solid here because Rob Font is not chinny. Rob Font is also not powerful. David is really tough. David does have some power, but Rob's got a good enough chin at his age. So I'm going to pick Font here. I might like a David Martinez inside the distance decision, no action might be the play. So we'll experiment with some bets, but I am going to pick Rob Font. I was hoping that like Shiwi was going to run through that dude, run through him and get all the decision karma back that Rob Font stole from Jean Matsumoto. Then we have the main event of the evening. We have Diego Lopes taking on Jean Silva. Jean Silva is the Fighting Nerd's last hope for a title run anytime soon. Kyle Barallo, I'm going to say he blew it, but he fought his ass off. Kyle Barallo just blew his title shot. Carlos Prates lost. He's got to win a few more in a row. We just watched Mauricio Ruffy get exposed. Bad. It's all on Jean Silva. All of it. And he probably rises to the occasion. We got Diego Lopes. Diego Lopes, dangerous grappler. He's also a full-time coach. All the good fighters coming out of Mexico, Diego Lopes is their coach. And while he doesn't really have great takedowns or great takedown defense, he's got unbelievable jiu-jitsu. He also has unbelievable power in his hands. Very technical striking. The technique goes out the window as the fight goes on, but he is there. He's where they're supposed to be. He keeps grabbing his neck, which does expose him a little bit. And if you time that, you can have some success. But the dude's got power in his hands. He's got incredibly dangerous BJJ. If he had better takedowns, he'd be unstoppable right now. He is coming off that loss to Alexander Volkanovski, where he almost knocked that dude out in the second round, had him on ice skates, but wasn't able to capitalize. Taking on Jean Silva. Jean Silva, a very powerful striker. He's loose. He's creative. The creativity is fun to watch. And it does get him into weird positions at times, but he is just so composed, so autistic, and so fun that he is doing whatever he wants out there. He is spinning. He's doing whatever he wants in these fights. He has insane power. He will lower his level like he's going to shoot a takedown and then blast your gut and come back up. Takedown defense, somewhat untested. He did defend 13 Bryce Mitchell takedown attempts, but those attempts were getting sloppier and sloppier as the fight went on because Jean was just making him pay for every single entry. I thought Diego Lopes was going to beat Alexander Volkanovski. I'll admit it. I was like, dude, Diego Lopes hits like a freight train and Alex is done. Like his chin is gone. And for a minute there, it looked pretty good. He had Volk almost out on his feet. Some judges or some referees might have stopped. But then it came all crashing down when Volk survived. And then Diego just couldn't keep up with the pace Volk was setting. The biggest issue with Diego is that while he has big power and speed, the technique goes out the window. It starts technical and then it goes out the window. So when you don't have the clean technique and you're not as defensively sound and you're all offense in the striking, people like Jean Silva will rip your head off. I think Jean Silva beats the shit out of Diego Lopes. It'll be a very fun fight. Diego Lopes is insanely tough. But I also think it's a detriment to his career that he is coaching a lot of people right now. He is 30 years old. He just fought for a world title. Let this fucking dude focus on his own career. Instead, he's out there training Alexa Grasso and like all these other fighters, Lupe Godinez, and that's great. And you know what? I've coached wrestling for 25 years. As a coach, you learn a lot. I at least learn more from coaching than being coached because you have to articulate it in a clear manner and it makes your brain just sort of like, okay, oh, look at that. Coaching is very beneficial, but at 30 years old, in the prime of your career, right now is the best version of Diego Lopes. He should be focusing 100% on himself. This is a selfish sport. Be selfish. But he's not. He's giving up his time. He's giving up his energy. And he should be focusing on himself That combination of coaching other people, the technique going out the window after a few minutes in a fight, the neck grab thing, that combination is bad because Jean Silva is just too good, too mobile, hits too hard. The takedown defense, somewhat questionable, but it doesn't even matter because Diego Lopez's offensive takedowns are not very good. Too busy coaching people. He should be grinding. Jean Silva, I think, beats the hell out of Diego Lopez. These odds reflect that, and I think the odds are accurate. Guys, that's the breakdown. Don't forget to subscribe. I ran through a million reasons why earlier with Artem and the Contender Series, as well as Jacob, the live streams, and every now and then we just throw up a random video. So get informed when we do. Click the subscribe button. It costs you literally nothing. After that, download the app. The app also costs you nothing. We have an app in the App Store. It was a challenge getting an app. I didn't know how to get an app, but Josh, the web guy, figured it out, and then we got an app. And the app will give you push notifications every time we place a bet, every time we do anything. You get a little notification. You could be on the toilet, which is probably where you are right now, you filthy creep. And then you'll get a notification. Angelo just placed a new bet for Noche UFC. You click it, check out the bet. Oh, that's a good bet. Let me wipe my ass and place it. Or, what is that fat slob thinking with this? And then you put your phone down and you move on. The app's free. Just search We Want Picks in the App Store. Inside the app, you'll have access to pretty much everything. We have a whole suite of tools and picks and bets. We have a tape index. The tape index basically lines up every fighter, their full fight history, and those fights. If there's a little red play button next to their name, you click it, video pops up, you can watch the fights. This is built for the future as well. You can start your research for Noche, then go right to UFC Perth, right to UFC 320, right to UFC Rio. All of those fight cards are broken out in here. You select your event and then your fighter. So get ahead of the lines. Start doing your research now. We have a fight simulator, simulates fights 100,000 times and gives you those outputs. We have an optimizer. The brand new optimizer not only does DraftKings fantasy lineups, but it also does FanDuel fantasy lineups, and it has the beginner mode. We have a data analyzer for those of you who like to do your research and you are data driven. Same logic as the tape index where you select your event. You can go far out to the future. You select your fighter. It lines up your fighter next to their opponent, all of their stats, and then you can add filters like, okay, I want to see how many strikes Diego Lopez lands in decision wins. And it'll redo the graph, give you all that information. It has the tape index built into it, so you can watch the fights, but you can also take that information and go to your favorite sports book and bet the strike lines. Go to Prize Picks, go to Underdog, and bet the strike lines. We have the line movement tracker. This will give you the opening odds, the current odds, the win probability, and the line movement for every fighter on every card. We have the Prop Hunter, a curated set of data specifically designed to help you find prop bets. And we have more than just this beautiful, sultry voice. We have Artem, our regional Rainman, who is absolutely dominating Dana White Contender Series. We have Bet Sam, who's a very aggressive gambler. So if you're a degenerate and you want some of those aggressive plus 600, plus 700 prop bets, Bet Sam's your man. And we have an artificial intelligence picking fights at remarkable accuracy. Every single thing I just mentioned, $10 for an entire month. No upsell, no cross-sell, no packages. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. I am very much looking forward to this fight card. I am also curious if you guys think that fighting nerds are a bit of a fraud. I don't. Now, it is bizarre that a team out of nowhere became this huge thing, got a ton of hype, and the team is branded. The only big brand teams are American Top Team, Jackson Wink for a while there, American Kickboxing Academy for a while. And obviously there's a million other teams, but those were the big tentpole teams that everybody was like, oh, this team is great. That team is great. American Kickboxing Academy at one point in time had 3 world champions in the UFC. And then Fighting Nerds all of a sudden in 2024 is like, Fighting Nerds, Fighting Words. None of them really beat anybody in ranked. None of them had accomplished much outside of they were all undefeated in the UFC and they were leaning on that. And then even last night, they're like, oh, the Fighting Nerds are 25-1 because Carlos lost to Ian Gary. Now it's like, well, they're 25-3. So I'm curious if you guys think the criticism or I guess it's not criticism, let's say the jealous hate of the Fighting Nerds is warranted because what are you doing selling merch and glasses? You're a gym. Or is it No, good for these guys. They're out there. They're grinding. Like, not everybody's going to be a world champion. They all look pretty good. Curious about that, guys. That's the breakdown. Appreciate every last one of you. Thanks for being here. Good luck this weekend.